sport. So there's going to be more money pouring into it because there's more expensive products to be sold. But participation wise, we're very close.
On that same topic, how much would a full set, and you do use multiple discs for it's the same thing as ball golf. You've got discs for specific distances and specific things. How much does a full set would cost for someone who wanted to get into it?
So discs typically retail between $10 and $20 a piece. You can get started with just one.
Sure.
But typically, 3 or 4 to get started. You have discs that fly differently. So, a putter and an approach shot, a driver. That's really a good start. So $30 to get started. The professional or, even a competitive league player might carry 15 discs that might be, $250 worth of discs. Obviously quite a bit less than golf equipment.
Yeah, I was going to say $30 would be about what I paid for my set of clubs. So that's
the recreational player, the weekend warrior, carries 4 or 5 discs, and they nowadays, unless you lose them, they last almost forever. So you don't really have to run very often. Probably the biggest difference is the initial startup cost. The first barrier to entry, but also most courses are somewhere between free and $5. There's a couple courses that cost a little more than $5, but not much.
Yeah. I've been here in Louisville, Kentucky. This group I belong to, many people have said, he's been here because we have a pretty, what I understand, I've never played it, but it's a pretty well-respected course at Iroquois Park here in Louisville. And I know that there's a course over across the river in New Albany. A guy just built it at his golf course. He has a 9-hole golf course, and he included a disc course. And then French Lick Resort up in Indiana has a disc course on their one of their 3 golf courses up there. So is it just in this area that it's getting very popular in the Midwest, or is it that way all over the country now?
No, there's about 10,000 courses now. What's happening, because you guys are familiar with ball golf, is that a lot of ball golf courses are struggling. And it's a way of taking an existing piece of land and an existing infrastructure. You put a disc golf course in, and you simply have another X number of players come through that course. It's not just greens fees, but there's cart rentals. There's obviously there's the pro shop, there's snacks, there's meals.
Right.
And then, of course, most of the hybrid courses, we call them now, will also carry a selection of golf discs, which is merchandising. Mm-hmm. So it's a way of, especially the more smaller private courses, sometimes it's just keeping their heads above water. In other cases, it's profitable, very profitable.
It's also a way for a whole family to participate. I mean, if you've got adults who are into ball golf, but the kids aren't, but they're into disc golf, you could still all go out as a family and play together.
Yeah, you absolutely can. And you can do both. There's a lot of players that do both. The thing about both of these sports is that they're the same sport. The mental aspect, the enjoyment of it, every parallel you can think of is almost one-to-one.
Okay.
When you play around at disc golf and you're playing well, you achieve this Zen-like state that has been romanticized in every golf book ever written, right?
Right.
And the struggles and the frustrations when you're not playing well are every bit as real. The going against the course instead of your competition, it's a parallel sport. You can play ball golf or disc golf. A pro and an amateur can play side by side, and they can still enjoy the game just as much because you're playing against the course. You're not playing your opponent. 2 players of different levels can't really enjoy playing table tennis all against one another because you're playing the opponent.
Yeah.
So it has all of those elements built into it. It's achieved through discs instead of balls and clubs.
When you talk just for distance-wise, just again to make the comparisons in our head, when you're talking like an average par 4, what kind of distance are you talking at disc golf?
An average par 4, we usually measure in feet instead of yards, which is a little different. Yeah. But a typical par 4, depending on the obstacles, is going to be in probably the 600-foot, the 200-yard range.
Okay.
There are players, pro-level players throw a disc 200 yards off the tee pad. One of the differences in the types of course, because discs have so much more variety in the flight paths they can take, that you don't need to have as open a space. And in fact, in many cases, if you put a disc golf tee pad on a ball golf tee pad and put the basket on the green, that would be a terrible disc golf hole.
Right.
Because the fairway is just so wide, the obstacles are almost non-existent. Even the sand traps you can throw out of rough is irrelevant. So most disc golf courses have a lot more obstacles in them. Trees, bushes, shrubbery, rocks, hills, and other types of terrain. Mm-hmm. So you can have a much shorter hole because you're in a very wooded area with a gap that's 8 feet wide. In that case, a 500-foot hole could easily be a par 4.
Right.
I think that made disc golf such an appealing sport early on is that we don't want open space, like all that great park space that you would use for soccer and baseball and just about every other sport out there. We want to be off in the woods. Like we want that land that you really can't do anything else with other than maybe hiking and bird watching. So you have all these municipalities out there that have this piece of land. What are they going to do with this? You know, it would cost millions to develop it into something. And we're like, or we can put a course in for $20,000. It's going to get 300 people a day using that land. And so it's really been a very symbiotic relationship with towns. Once we became accepted that this is a good thing,
right,
it became an easy sell, so to speak.
Neal, I think we need to take a quick break here, but when we come back, one of the things I'd like to talk to you about, Scott, is you're working with special needs people and how disc golf can help in that particular area. I know you do a lot of work around there, so that's something I'd like to explore with you a little further. And then, of course, Neal has that 6-pack of questions coming up, too. So we are the Approach Shot Hangout. We have Scot Stokely with us, and we're coming right back. During the COVID-19 lockdown, our standards have been relaxed. We have given up looking good for feeling good. Pajama pants or sweatpants were fine when everything you did was on Zoom, but now things are relaxing and it's about time to get back out into public. I am excited because I have found, first off, our new partner, Public Rec. We want to welcome them in as a new partner here on those Weekend Golf Guys. But they make leisure wear in waist and inseam sizes. They feel, and we agree, comfort starts with a better fit. My favorite pants are their best-selling. It's called All Day, Everyday Pants. They're a much more stylish alternative to sweatpants and much more comfortable alternative to jeans. I got to tell you, I have never had pants fit this well, and I don't feel sloppy. And who knew you could look this sharp in sweats, right? I'm in the process of changing all the pants in my wardrobe to these because, I mean, these things are great. Like they said, they feel like sweats. They look like dress pants. You can lounge at home. You look sharp for work, headed out to the bar, go and play golf, visiting clients, whatever. All day, everyday pants come in waist and inseam sizing, so they will fit short guys, they'll fit tall guys, and they'll fit everyone in between. They come in 9 different colors, which means you can have one for every day of the week and then 2 left over. You can start a whole new rotation. Now, you can get your whole wardrobe from Public Rec because they've got incredibly comfortable shorts and T-shirts, Henleys and polos, hoodies, jackets, and golf gear. They got it. Public Rec rarely discounts, but right now they have an exclusive offer just for Approach Shot listeners. Go to publicrec.com/golfguys and use the promo code APPROACHSHOT to receive 10% off. That's Public Rec, REC, and use our promo code APPROACHSHOT for 10% off.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Men, want to feel younger, stronger, leaner? You don't have to slow down after 40. Frank Thomas found the secret to staying in shape with the energy and drive of his 20s.
Man, you look like you could still hit it a mile.
I feel great, too.
What gives?
After 40, men slow down. It's harder to stay in shape.
Why?
Our free testosterone levels drop. It happened to me, and then I found Nugenix Total T.
New Nugenix Total T is our most powerful man-boosting formula ever because it boosts your free testosterone and your total testosterone. Nugenix Total T helps provide even more energy, performance, testosterone, and muscle-boosting ingredients for even better results. To get your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, text GRIT to 321321. Samples are not available in stores.
Well, wait. Well, you can do something about it now.
I got to try Nugenix Total T.
Text GRIT to 321321 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. That's GRIT to 321321.
We promised we'd come back, and we did.
That's right. I knew you would. I was kind of 50-50. No, but I came back because of Scot Stokely.
Yeah, definitely.
I was all stoked about disc golf.
Yeah, in fact, I think I saw Neal. He's going through trying to he's going to trade in his golf clubs for a bunch of discs.
Well, you know, he said that in the last segment, we were just talking about the fact that so much of the disc golf courses are in the woods and in rough areas and things like that. And since that's where I spend most of my golf time anyway, it sounds like home to me.
And one of the things I thought of when he said that was, and all the golf balls you find in there, you can use now to finance your disc golf career.
There you go. Exactly right. He also said $30. So, you know, that appealed to me.
It did indeed. Did indeed. Okay, Scott, we mentioned, and one of the things that I've read about you is that you like to share the sport with a special needs community. Is it just autistic people, or is it run the gamut of special needs situations?
No, it is not people just with autism. I originally started off doing events for kids and adults with autism in an attempt to make the sport more inclusive. And then I realized as soon as I tagged it autism, I was now being exclusive because there's many players not represented. So it became special needs. But the tag that I work with kids and adults with autism has stuck because that's where it started.
Gotcha.
Blue Power was the organization that I loosely created, at least to run the events under. But the idea was to introduce the game to not just kids and adults with special needs. If I ever say kids, it's because I think of them all as my kids, but it's all ages. But not just to introduce them, but also to introduce their families to a sport that they can enjoy together.
Yeah.
Fun things about disc golf, like I mentioned earlier, it's a parallel sport, which means it is a sport that you can do with your kid, brother, or sister and enjoy because you're playing parallel. You're still playing disc golf. There's no, trying to coerce you into taking your younger brother out to the disc golf course. If you like playing disc golf, you want to go.
Right.
And so it's a sport that is great for that. It's also adaptive because you can basically rewrite the rules for any player as necessary. There's no rigidity to how the game is played. If someone has let's say medium functioning autism, you can have a golf hole that is 40 feet long. And the player can learn that if they stand and they take the disc and they throw it towards the target, that they're advancing towards the goal. Then they move towards the disc and they pick it up and they throw it again and they advance towards the target with the understanding that completion happens when you strike the chains and fall in the basket. Well, that player has played the game of golf no different than Tiger Woods or myself play the game of golf. Mm-hmm. It's adapted for their level, but it's the exact same game,
right?
With the same words. And so what I did is when I came up with the idea of doing this is that I went to 280 cities around the country where I would teach a free class for kids with special needs, kids and adults. And they would come out, I would teach them how to play, and we had a blast. It was always free. I never charged. It was everyone that came out got a disc and a shirt just for showing up. And it was something I did purely for fun. And it was the best thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
What I find really interesting, and we're going to sort of dip into the dark side of Scott here, is that I'm looking at, the promo for your book, and it talks an awful lot about your early struggles in your life. Black market dealer, it says, an addict, a fugitive from justice. These are notes from your own book, so I'm not,
sure,
casting aspersions or anything. Do you think disc golf saved your life?
Disc golf did save my life, and the people in it saved my life. I've left the sport of disc golf twice, and both times I pulled away from my base and things in my life didn't go well. One time was when I was younger, so when I was 18 or 19 years old, and that was just more rebellious teenager. There's nothing there that is, well, I wrote about it in my book. I mean, there were some interesting stories, but they were teenage stories. And then when I did leave the sport in 2001 when my daughter was born, and that was after touring for all those years, and I took 13 years off. And things went well for a while, but towards the end of that 13 years, things started going badly. Financially, relationship, failed marriage, failed business, foreclosures. And then substance abuse became a part of my life, not for a very long period of time, but I don't do anything half-assed. So when I did it, I was full steam ahead. And that was from like 2013, 2014-ish, not for a long period of time, but it was dark. And when I found the sport, that's what pulled me out. Like the Frisbee family, as I call them, immediately embraced me and welcomed me back in, just like any family would. Mm-hmm. I need you guys. I went back on a tour. I need to build myself up. And the special needs teaching was born from that, because I needed to, especially at that time, seek out things that made me feel good about myself. I wanted to, I don't feel like I was the best citizen for a very short period of my life, but I wasn't the best member of society. And I really felt like I needed to do things to give back, to clean my slate with the world, and but I also wanted to build up my self-esteem. So I ironically, and if it was on video, I would show you when I took off to travel.